Miracles are radical. Honorable Chair, focusing on miracles in the spread of religion is an outdated and counterproductive strategy. It diminishes the true essence of religious understanding and undermines the credibility of religious institutions. So proud to propose. Firstly, on the proposition setup, and secondly, on to our first two substantives. Let's first establish a few points in the setup. What do we mean by emphasis on miracles in the context of spreading religion? This looks like religious narratives centered on stories and divine intervention, miraculous healings, or events that defy natural laws presented as evidence of a higher power. It's the idea that God or divine force actively in the material world in ways that can be observed and experienced. This focus is often used to convert non-believers to subscribe to their religion. This is what we're regretting on side proposition. Now, what does our counterfactual look like? We prefer a world where religions are about the internal pursuit of spirituality. Instead of emphasizing miracles, religions should highlight moral and ethical teachings, spiritual guidance, and a God who offers support and wisdom rather than material intervention. But it should be rooted in values, not miracles. This shift would foster a more resilient and fulfilling faith better aligned with secular sensibilities. Now, that being clarified, we want to refer substantive about how the emphasis on miracles undermines the resilience of religious faith. When religion emphasizes miracles, it sets up an expectation that God will intervene in the material world in extraordinary ways. This can be deeply problematic for believers as it sets up followers in disillusionment. Imagine a person facing a life-threatening illness or community ravaged by a natural disaster. If their faith is built upon the idea that God performs miracles, they will be in despair and ask, why isn't God helping me? Why has God abandoned me? This can lead to disillusionment as followers begin to question their faith or believe that they are being punished by God who they feel should be intervening. In contrast, a religious faith that emphasizes moral teaching and spiritual connection is far more resilient. When it focuses on ethical teachings of religion and the comfort of knowing that a higher power watches over you spiritually rather than materially, believers are better equipped to handle hardships. They don't need to see miracles to validate their faith. This belief isn't contingent on witnessing divine intervention in the physical world, but rather on the strength and comfort that comes from living according to the teachings of their religion and feeling a spiritual connection to the divine. This approach to faith is especially crucial for those who are struggling. Religion is often most needed by people who are facing hardship, who see little hope in their material circumstances. If their faith is not dependent on the expectation of miracles, it becomes a constant source of support rather than something that might fail them when they need it the most. This makes their faith more sustainable and fulfilling, as it is grounded in values and sense of spiritual well-being rather than a miracle's occasional appearance. Now, that being said, we want our second substantive about emphasis on miracles and how it undermines religious credibility. In today's world where scientific understanding and rational thought dominate, the emphasis on miracles can severely damage the credibility of religious institutions. This means that the emphasis on miracles has tarnished the reputation of religion and led to the erosion of credibility. As societies become more well-educated and scientifically literate, the reliance on miracles can appear outdated or even deceptive. This is particularly true among younger generations who are taught to question and seek evidence-based explanations. When religions heavily emphasize miracles, they risk being seen as superstitious or irrational, causing people to dismiss them altogether. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, some religious groups refused to adhere to social distancing rules, claiming that their faith in divine protection would shield them from the virus. This reliance on miraculous protection was not only heavily criticized, but also led to backlash against those by an emphasis on miracles, undermines public trust in religion, and contributes to its decline, particularly in most secular parts of the world. Moreover, Judge, this focus on miracles justifies the rejection of scientific literacy within religious communities. When believers are taught to expect divine intervention in the forms of miracles, like the creation of universe in 7 days or whatnot, they may become less likely to engage with scientific ideas, such as like the theory of evolution, which they perceive as something that conflicts with their own faith. This divides religious communities and the broader society into two or whatnot, isolating behaviors and excluding them from critical public discourses. Judge, as a result, religion itself may become more insular and less relevant in a world that increasingly values scientific understanding. Therefore, we say that religion with miracles itself creates more backlash in society, and therefore, due to these reasons, we're more than proud to propose. Thank you.
Okay, so starting off, I would like to define religion as like you're subscribing yourself to a supernatural being that can do things you can't. So miracles are important in this because they further support the fact that there is a supernatural being that's guiding you through this mess of world. So okay, is God without miracles? The answer is like no, because miracles in the Bible especially are key to this establishing that Jesus' divine nature. Without these events, Jesus is seen as more of a moral teacher and a prophetic figure rather than God himself. Through the spread of miracles and the spread of religions, we further support the fact that Jesus and other religious figures are in fact an incarnate of God himself, giving people hope, and the fact that there is a supernatural being who is who's beyond scientific explanation that's guiding you through this world. So moving on to my arguments. Firstly, miracles will give people hope. So miracles are a form of hope, saying that even in the worst situations, when you're at your worst times, if you believe in God, something good will happen. So truly believing that a miracle happened or God will save you because they really believe and are completely faithful. This is a psychological thing, and people have actually been shown to recover from simply believing in God and using traditional religious rituals to heal instead of using conventional medicine. So this gives people hope to keep going, to keep moving forward and trying their best in life because they believe in miracles. They believe that if they keep trying in life and doing their best and keeping with a faith with their God, a miracle will happen. And in doing so, and trying to make their life actually better. So it also helps with depression or addiction recovery as well, because miracles give people hope that their life isn't over and they can still keep going and overcome their addiction or depression. By believing in God, they have a beam of light to follow, and they're not just going to be stuck with no guiding path. So the outcome is that while opposition may say that this is not really religion, they still believe in their God or deity, and these people are still trying are working hard in life and trying hard to overcome their problems because of it. Is that not good overall? Sorry, thank you. So secondly, people are completely stupid as to believe miracles that could harm themselves. So if people are sick, then they know that they're sick. You can tell because you're in pain. People are as stupid to believe that they can be healed by God just putting some ritual medicine on their serious injuries or cancer injuries and such. If they do actually believe this, though, this psychological belief could lead to actually recovering with a placebo effect observed. So it is better to have like positivity and something and a hope that guides you rather than pessimism in these cases. So adding on to what I've said before, miracles is a fundamental belief that is really important in religions. So in religions, you're subscribing yourself to a supernatural being, as I've said. So miracles are important, and I've said they're basically a guideline proving that God or whatever religious figure that you believe in is basically the supernatural being that helps you through hard times and helps you through this mess of a world. So miracles, especially events such as the resurrection in Christianity, are central to their foundation. Without these events or miracles, the foundational belief that these gods and supernatural beings are here to guide you and help you through your life is fundamentally challenged. So this therefore undermines and reduces the spread of religions. In conclusion, this is why the motion should fall and opposition should win this debate.
Any hope that exists on opposition is short-lived because of the inherent unreliability of miracles. We advocate for focus on the firm, unchanging basis of religion, so proud to propose. I want to start with a few rebuttals then. The main point coming from Elo is that miracles are central to religious belief, providing tangible evidence of the existence of God and whatnot. Three responses. Firstly, while miracles have historical significance, the true essence and sustainability of religion itself lie in its moral and ethical teachings, which provide a consistent and universal foundation for faith that nobody can argue against. Second, moral and ethical teachings guide believers in their daily lives, offering a framework for behavior and decision-making that is applicable in all situations, unlike the rare occurrence of miracles that could possibly happen every century. Third, by emphasizing moral and ethical teachings, religion offers a more stable and enduring path to faith, one that is not reliant on the unpredictable nature of miracles. They also talk about hope, how because of miracles, people are hopeful that they could recover from diseases and whatnot. Again, three responses. Firstly, the psychological support offered by miracles is often fleeting and conditional on the belief that divine intervention will occur in the first place. In contrast, moral and ethical teaching provide a stable foundation for resilience that is not dependent on external events. Secondly, when believers internalize moral and ethical teachings, they develop an intrinsic sense of purpose and strength that sustains them through adversity, regardless of whether they witness or experience miracles. Third, emphasizing moral and ethical teachings ensures that believers develop a resilient and self-reliant faith capable of providing continuous psychological support and hope in all circumstances, not just in the presence of miracles. Before moving on to our third argument, I just wanted to point out that there's no response coming from Elo to either of our Prime Minister's arguments, so to bring them back into this debate. Firstly, about how the resilience of faith is undermined since the strongest values are built off of ethical and moral principles, but secondly, how the credibility of religions itself are eroded. For example, religious groups were not following COVID restrictions because they thought that their God would create a miracle miracle and intervene. Because of these things, religions just seem like radical and irrational. We would not want this to happen. Moving on to our third argument about how the emphasis on miracles fosters fear-based and superficial faith at best, even if it is success, even if it is successful to some extent on their side. Even if we accept that emphasizing miracles could be effective in converting people, particularly those who are easily vulnerable or who are easily swayed and vulnerable, this approach often relies on instilling fear rather than fostering genuine belief. The emphasis on miracles portrays God as an active force in the material world, capable of dramatically altering life circumstances. This can lead people to convert not because they actually resonate with the religion's teachings, but because they fear potential divine punishment or wish to secure divine favor. We have to recognize that conversions driven by fear or awe of the miracles that you cannot comprehend are inherently superficial. Individuals may feel compelled to adopt a religion to avoid perceived threats or gain material benefits, rather than out of a true connection with its moral and spiritual teachings. This kind of coerced faith is fragile as it is based on external pressures rather than internal conviction. For example, when religious leaders highlight miraculous punishments or blessings as evidence of divine power, people might convert out of fear of these outcomes rather than a genuine belief in the religion's core principles. Hence, in a scenario where miracles are emphasized, followers are simply more likely to experience their faith as a source of anxiety rather than true, genuine comfort. Why is our counterfactual so much better then? One, the emphasis is placed on the moral and ethical teachings of the religion and on spiritual connections with the divine. The potential for coercion is greatly reduced and is thus minimal. While there might still be some element of fear related to the afterlife and whatnot, these outcomes are distant and abstract, leading to less immediate pressures on individuals. This allows for a more voluntary and thoughtful conversion process where people choose their faith because it actually aligns with their values and offers spiritual fulfillment, not because they feel forced by the threat of miraculous retribution. At the end of the day, the reason why we win this debate is because we create the best forms of religion, where people truly want to follow religions because their life aligns with the moral and ethical teachings, not because they're simply fearful or not because they want to gain the benefits that their religions teach them about miracles. For these reasons, so proud to propose.
Okay, so first I will start with my rebuttal and then I will go into my 2 points on like why this motion should fall. So first of all, the proposition said many things about moral teaching, how like instead of miracles they would focus on like moral teaching and values, but this doesn't really have like any it doesn't have any like actual benefit because what like on our side we can inspire people to be hopeful or like happy. And also they talked a lot about how miracles are based around fear and superstition and how they might be forced to believe this or something. But this is not true for every case. Not all miracles are rooted in fear and like superstition. They're mostly rooted in like awe and like positivity and hope. Okay, so on to my first reason, which is personal transformation, which comes from like being awed by the miracle. So first of all, many individuals may have like profound personal transformations stemming from their experience with miracles. These events can lead to renowned faith, hope, and purpose, significantly impacting the believers' lives. This is especially beneficial for the people who are in need of hope or a sense of belonging to a specific community. Being sent a miracle by God means that they have been rewarded. In the case that people don't get a miracle, they will keep believing and keep trying to get one, and then they eventually create one themselves. And this does not actually have any harm. Um, like regardless of yeah. And then there's also like personal transformations resulting from the miraculous experience, and these can inspire individuals to give back to their communities. Many who feel that they have received a divine intervention may feel compelled to help others, fostering a spirit of service and altruism. This can cause people to rethink their life, for example, giving back to the poor and helping others in need. This also creates a sense of unity among believers. Believers who, whether or not have experienced a miracle, can help unite the community because miracles is one of the biggest bases of like religion. It's like for example, no, thank you. For example, like how God, like got his like power. He made like a lot of miracles that led to people believing in him. So the miracles can help inspire like hope between the followers, and this creates a loving community where people that are less privileged can thrive because the other people care about them. the impact of miracles can extend beyond the individual, often strengthening relationship between family and communities. Shared experience of maybe miraculous events. These don't have to be super big. These can be like small. Can deepen bonds and foster a
Why?
sense
Please
of
engage.
no among believers. Creates This also creates a more loving society, not a harmful one. On to my second point on sense of purpose. This getting a miracle can make people more thankful in their lives. So getting this people can realize what they are thankful for. It could be family, friends, like their partner, anything. People with other and help people like with others in need. People who don't get miracles, as I said already, would work harder. That doesn't necessarily they will do bad things, for example, donate more to the church, but kind things to people and have like selfless actions. So the point of religion is like all about God being all-knowing, loving, and selfless. He like historically made miracles that have like happened in all kinds of religions. And yeah, okay. So I've never been prouder to oppose. Thank you.
A miracle is a radical, and that does not change. A radical faith in supernatural beings and the over dependence on them, the over reliance on them, and the heavy emphasis, if not the only emphasis on religion, diminishes the meaning and the core foundations that we believe is essential to religion. Directly moving on to rebuttals and callouts. First, they talk about how miracles give inspiration, but moral and ethical teachings have no substantial benefit. Three main layers here. First, while miracles can inspire and affirm faith, they are not the most reliable or sustainable foundation for religious belief. Moral and ethical teachings provide you a consistent and universal basis for faith that is relevant in all circumstances, all relationships, and all scenarios. So you instill them in your soul, and it helps you, guides you, and aids you in every part of your life. Meaning, emphasizing these moral and ethical teaching ensures that religion remains a guiding force in everyday life, offering practical wisdom and support that does not depend on the occurrence of miracles. However, on opposition comparative, you're waiting every single day for that miracle to approach you, give you the opportunity to live the life of Jesus or God or Muhammad Ali, which is not practical, nor the life that we want religious believers to live. They also talk about how if people don't receive miracles from these supernatural beings, they will literally create them themselves. They will create one themselves, and there's no harm here. They literally concede to our point on disillusionment because creating one yourself is being soaked in your own delusion that because Jesus or God or a supernatural being didn't pick you, you decide to create one yourselves, hope that they'll come to you out of pity or empathy or whatnot, and we think this is why they lose in the first place. But for call-outs, they don't engage with our first, second, nor third substantive material, and we think disillusionment and religious credibility are debate winning points, so we expect engagement. But to quickly recap on this, we think the reason why disillusionment is a debate winning point is because when religion emphasizes miracles, it already sets up an expectation for you that God will intervene with the material world in extraordinary ways, and that is the only reason why you decide to create your own, because God hasn't gifted you one, now you need to make one. And this is not the solution nor the life that we want religious believers to live. Now moving on to team's first question on which one is better, moral and ethical teachings or miracles of supernatural beliefs. The claim coming from proposition is clear. Jesus is Jesus even without the miracles. God is God even without the miracles, and this applies to all supernatural beings. We'd much rather have a religious group that emphasizes the moral and ethical teachings. Why? A religion should be promoted and presented in the way the proposition proposes, because the true foundation of a religious identity is found in the moral and ethical teachings that define how believers should live their lives. These teachings are the bedrock and stepping stones of religious communities, shaping their values, providing guidelines every single day, and behaviors inconsistent in the enduring way that we want them to live. Moral and ethical teachings already provide a clear, actionable guide for living a good life, fostering community bonds and personal development in ways that miracles, which are rare and extraordinary, most likely won't happen, which is why you create one on your own out of your own delusion and self-pity that one hasn't come to you, cannot win opposition side the debate. This is why we believe the opposition loses, because if you're so pitiful and if you feel so sad that Jesus hasn't selected you to be the one to receive his so-called self-proclaimed miracle, then this is what happens. When the faith is grounded in moral and ethical teachings, on our comparative, believers are less likely to experience doubt or disillusionment and rely their whole life on the presumption that there will be a miracle that approaches them. However, on their comparative, people will simply live and hope that a miracle does approach them, that Jesus will give them that opportunity, and they will be able to have the life that they wish to do. This is not the life that religious believers have to live. Also note that opposition cannot simply claim that the promotion of religion will bring more followers and believers. Now moving on to our team's second question on which side preserves the long-term sustainability of the religion. We believe that when opposition claims that the promotion of the religion will be long-term on their side, this is inherently untrue for multiple reasons. But first, a lot of potential believers know that science already makes it impossible for water to transform into wine, and believing in such supernatural events already leads to the dependence and misled faith that it will happen in their own lives. Note that this disillusionment, like my PM proof, is bad. No judge that there is no engagement with this, but the most important takeaway from our second clash is that the accessibility and the relatability of the religion does not solely depend on miracles, which is why we believe proposition side wins for this reason. For these reasons, so proud to propose.
As the third speaker said opposition, we strongly disagree with the motion. I'll begin my speech with a few rebuttals. Proposition said that when people are going through hardships and God and there isn't miracles that happen to them, they might think that these miracles have wronged them. However, many religious traditions teach that hardships can serve a greater purpose, such as fostering personal growth, resilience, or deeper faith. Suffering is often viewed as part of the human experience, contributing to spiritual development rather than indicating abandonment. My second rebuttal is that proposition also said that in our world, people are constantly living in a state where they are waiting for a miracle to happen one of us. However, many individuals do not simply wait for these miracles. They actively engage in their lives and communities. People often take personal responsibility for their circumstances, working hard to create positive changes rather than relying on these miracles. Therefore, Pop's argument does not stand. Now I'll move on to the clash of this debate. Faith and hope versus superficial beliefs and faith. So why are miracles important? Miracles often provide hope and something to believe in when people are going through hardships and difficulties. When people believe in miracles, they often believe in a supernatural being like God or the Buddha. And by living by their beliefs and teachings, it is believed that you get the good things in life. So why are miracles an important part of religion? Miracles is not just about supernatural beings. Miracles is not just about supernatural beings that happen. It often involves a culture about the specific religion. Without the emphasis on miracles in a religion, we are overshadowing the culture and historical significance of the religion. Why is this bad? Miracles often evoke a sense of awe and wonder that deepen faith and inspire believers. Overshadowing these events can reduce their inspirational power and making these miracles less significant. And I'll take it later. So why now on Pop's side of the debate, they argue that miracles are superficial and are fear-based instead of belief-based. However, we clearly win this clash because this does not apply to all people. Only people that take it that way view it this way. Miracles often lead to profound personal experience and transformations, and not like fear, like you talked about. I'll take your P1 now.
We think that the emphasis on miracles makes it so that people on your comparative rely on these miracles, hoping that one comes to them, and lacks focus on the ethical and moral teachings that are cornerstones of religion. Please disprove this.
I don't really understand your P1. So if they rely on these moral teachings, it's their choice whether they believe in it and how they take it. So it can change depending on how much you believe in the religion. So now I'll move on to my second clash. Unity among believers versus miracles and your argument on miracles don't affect the religion. So what does unity among believers mean in the context of this debate? It refers to people that believe in the same religion and believe in the same teachings or supernatural being. So why is this good? So why is this important? When people believe in the same religion, they feel a sense of unity and a feeling like they have connection with this religion. These miracles often tell stories and life lessons, which often propel people forwards during times of hardship. Why is this good? Unity fosters strong relationships among members, creating a supportive environment where individuals can rely on one another during difficult times. Miracles are here to bring people together, not to pull them apart. Therefore, we don't see why proposition has a viable reason to regret the existence of miracles in religion. Now on Prop's side of the debate, they argue that God is still God even without miracles. However, we clearly win this clash because people don't believe in God, because people believe in God for not most of the time, not for who he is, but for the thing he has done. And this is often recorded in forms of miracles and stories. In conclusion, after everything we have told you today, it is clear that opposition should win this debate and the motion should fall. Thank you.
Okay, so starting off, in a world, what would a world without miracles or no emphasis on miracles look like? Generally, religion will lose its core tenet, where God is a supernatural being that guides you through an earthly mess of this world. So, but however, in a world with miracles, it motivates people to try hard and actually follow their religion's moral and ethical teachings, because now they have because in our world they have a big incentive and motivation to follow these teachings, and they will put more focus on upholding them and abiding with these teachings, because they now have an incentive that if they do this and believe in God and follow God's beliefs, then they will get a miracle. So as a rebuttal to, they think God has abandoned them. They actually, hardships are viewed as part of human's life and what one has to overcome to actually achieve things. So if one is in a if someone is in a hard time of their life, then they will most likely actually think that they have to overcome this while believing in God and keeping with his beliefs to actually gain the miracle that will save them. So moving on to a bit of weighing. So firstly, as my third speaker has said, faith and hope versus superficial beliefs and faith. So as we had said before, miracles are some of the core foundations of religions, providing support that their God or deity is supernatural. So this is something that people believe in when they're going through hardships and difficulties. And when people believe in miracles, they often believe in a supernatural being. So, as we have said before, it often involves the culture about the specific religion. Without this emphasis on miracles in a religion, we're basically overshadowing the culture and historical significance of this religion in a way, because miracles take up a lot of the significant events that happen in a religion and their historical past and significance. So. So secondly, unity among believers versus miracles that don't affect the religion. Unity among believers mean that believers collectively believe that a miracle will happen, and if you believe in God in these practices, so this creates unity among them. This creates unity among the believers and unites these believers. So in conclusion, this is why opposition should win this debate and the motion should fall. Thank you.
An individual's faith is at its best when he does not need to physically experience miracles to validate his faith as existent, for preserving the true essence of religion so proud to propose. I want to start off with making two main callouts. Firstly, there is still no response to our second argument about how the inherent credibility of religious groups is just undermined because people realize that religious groups like Christians, for example, are just like possibly irrational because they don't adhere to certain like scientific principles, and their miracles just go against this. For example, the creation of the universe in Christianity goes against the scientific principle and proven principle of evolution. But second call out, many of opposition's benefits are just not exclusive. DLO focuses a lot on how miracles inspire altruism and selflessness and etc. Note that in many religions, teachings like treat others the way you want to be treated and etc. are part of their inherent ethical teachings anyways, and they're not necessarily only portrayed with miracles. Uniting believers happens on our side too because of this and because of the common moral teachings that many believers align their lives with, and how that is also a common factor among them. Therefore, we don't think that these benefits are necessarily exclusive to their world. We win based on two reasons. Firstly, because we prove the purpose of religion, which is that generally religion serves as a framework for understanding the meaning of life, providing moral guidance and offering comfort and support during special times of difficulty, fostering a sense of community and belonging and facilitating the exploration of the divine transcendent. Overall, the purpose of religion is deeply intertwined with spirituality, ethics, and human interconnectedness. And note that on their side, these things are comparatively less because people rely on extraordinary and unlikely things happening to them in hard times, not actual comfort that they get from the higher God. A religious faith emphasizing moral teachings and spiritual connections is far more resilient because when the focus is on the ethical teachings of religion and the comfort of knowing that a higher power watches over you spiritually rather than materially, believers are better equipped to handle hardships. They don't need to see miracles to validate their faith. This was never responded to by opposition. But secondly, we prove the credibility of religion. We told you that scientific evidence and irrational thought go against each other because of miracles, again, because of ideas like God creating the universe and clashing against evolution. These points are not addressed by side opposition, which means that note that even if our arguments all fall, they never engage to this point, which is why they cannot take this point home. We are at the end of this debate, clear cut valid. Thank you.